And right now, it's hard to find just the right words to say tonight. There has been so much progress made in the couple years since Lily, Gary, and I were elected. It's not easy. It's not been without tough challenges. But it's been extremely rewarding seeing this town shift in visible ways. I knew it would not be easy when I started this battle. I knew we were ruffling feathers, and for that there would be heavy backlash. But I never thought would be undermined, even from those who claim they love and care about this city and want it to be successful. I think one word that describes my feelings best would be disappointed. Very disappointed. It's hard to push things forward when you have to dodge pitfalls and landmines, but when your own colleagues use newspapers and paint a skewed, negative, one-sided picture of things, the disappointed is almost not a strong enough word. I want to be very clear. I did not interfere with how the RG was run. On no level did I ever interfere with how the RG was run. We have a city manager, oversees the department, and I trust him to do his job. I never requested anything, ever, except quarterly financials because my responsibility is to the taxpayers. When Mr. Rexroad left, the managers proposed replacing him with 2 employees. I supported his decision because I wanted the theater to have what they needed to be successful. I love that theater. It beams with nostalgia. I saw The Godfather, my favorite movie of all time, there, and one of the nicest weddings I ever attended in that building, catered by my cousins, D. Cardee. I have a lot of incredible memories at that theater. Yes, I was critical when I ran for office about how much money was put into this project. Our city was crumbling around us, and we were putting millions of dollars in that theater, so I was very critical. That was not an indictment of Mr. Tolley, Ms. Moore, or Mr. Rexroad, but it's become very clear that's how it was taken. I've never wanted financial transparency. I've only wanted financial transparency for taxpayers and cooperation between the team at the RG and the city manager. The theater was ours, and regardless of the spin claiming we wanted to harm it, we all very much wanted it to succeed. It has to. Our city depends on that. That brings us to this debacle. Jim, when you made your pitch to be mayor, your main point was wanted to bring us together to move the city forward. That was your pitch. That partnership would be your main goal. This is creating one heck of a partnership, Jim. Those were clearly just empty words. John Miller says in his editorial that we are wrongly upset because complaints were made publicly and not why these complaints were made. The fact is, before anyone could even digest what was happening, Kathy Goins, Marcia Broughton, and the newspaper had copies of confidential resignation letters. Some of council have not even read them yet, and the newspaper was already dropping a story on it. If that's the advice that past Mayor Goins gave you, how much could she or anyone involved really care about this city or the theater? How was sharing this information with her or Marcia Broughton helpful to the citizens? What would that accomplish giving that information to those folks, Jim? As an attorney who works for a law firm that represents our city, surely Ms. Broughton knows that sharing this information is a breach of ethics and, more importantly, opens up the city liable. Call me crazy, but isn't it a serious conflict that a firm working for the city has a lawyer involved in this fiasco? How does catching council completely off guard, airing personnel issues, or perpetrating continual discord with our city help anything? Perhaps if there was even a small window of opportunity to digest things, we could have sat down with Mr. Tolley and Ms. Moore and potentially worked things out as Will has stated. This reeks of personal agenda and vendetta. You took James, you took very, very bad advice from your folks. Again, so disappointing. I really thought that we were coming together as a council, that this group was a complementary team. But to spin this breach as heroic on your part is laughable. You brag about sharing confidential employee communication like it's a badge of honor. After you got caught, you shared it. Until you got caught, you had no comment, James. Have you no ethical or moral compass? In closing, I'm requesting the city manager draft a resolution censoring Councilman Malfajoe and condemning and denouncing him for the unethical breach of trust committed. I would also like council to consider filing an ethics violation against Malfajoe. As council people, we all make mistakes, honest mistakes, but intentionally releasing confidential information to anyone for the sake of undermining this council will not be overlooked while I serve as mayor. My only goal is progress. I want this council to invest their energy and time positively, not to be drained by unnecessary drama. We have way too much work to be done. Lastly, I ask the citizens of this city not to lose confidence in us. Please continue to work with us, and together we can and will focus on making positive progress. There are wonderful things happening. Proof positive that is Clarksburg's first Winterfest, put together by our outstanding new CVB that Mr. Malfajoe opposed, and the phenomenal director, Tina Yoke. I can't wait to see everyone out there during Winterfest. I will now entertain a motion to go into executive session.